my agenda out, so I keep us on track. Yeah, holy moly. Should be in here somewhere, I hope. I've been politicking that. I think I was running for office.
Yeah. Should have turned this
Not
off.
yet. Not yet.
Which one are you looking for?
Everybody get your mics on? I guess I'm the last one. Well, we'll call the meeting to order, I guess. Thanks for being here. Hey, we do have a quorum, so we can at least vote on stuff. Hallelujah. So I guess the KCV Cycling Club, Nick, come on up.
I'm Nick Alk with the KCV Cycling Club Fat and Skinny Tire Festival, and I wanted to come to the commission today and present a grant ask, sponsorship ask, and this is in conjunction with multiple parties, Third Fridays, Go Row Warsaw, and the Chamber. So we are wanting to make, with the addition of Third Fridays with Fat and Skinny, we're trying to make Third Fridays and Fat and Skinny a gigantic event in downtown Warsaw. So we presented a grant ask for $6,200, and a lot of this is going to be for tents, toilets, promotional items, sound and music, and some light towers for the event. So this will be the second year we've had the downtown crit in downtown Warsaw. So we are actually looking to actually make Friday even bigger than what it has been the last couple of years. Last year it kind of rained out, and we had awesome attendance, and then the second it started raining, everybody dispersed. So we're hoping with the tent this year, this is, I believe, a 40 by 80 tent, that we can get a good amount of people underneath that tent if we do have bad weather. So. Any questions?
So the festival is growing every year, trying, this is in addition to trying to.
Yeah, this is our 19th year. Trying to remember how, this is the second year for downtown racing around Warsaw. We had a time trial that went out to Zimmer Biomet Building 5 and came back. I think we had that for 5 years prior to COVID. But the town, the city of Warsaw kind of asked us, hey, what do you guys think about trying to keep everything closer in downtown Warsaw? So we reevaluated and did a downtown crit series, which is actually super popular. And it actually is more user-friendly when it comes to watching spectators, because with a time trial, you're going there and back. Mm-hmm. So with a downtown crit, you're doing multiple laps. So our course right now is going straight through downtown. And it starts at, I believe, 7 and ends around 10:30. So it's going to be a fun event.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to speak on this a little bit because I saw, as having a business downtown, it's one of the busiest nights of the year. And I think if we can provide more, like last year, I saw it too, everybody disappeared after it started raining. And the tent was, I think, like a 15 by 20 tent. So we need a bigger tent and more things to provide for those people, so.
Okay.
I agree.
Anybody else? Comments, questions for Nick? Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to pass the grant as it exists.
Okay, we got
I'll second.
Got a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Nick.
Nick. I appreciate you.
Let's go Syracuse Wawasee Rotary Charitable Foundation.
Hi, Commission. This is Matthew Beauchard with the Syracuse Wawasee Rotary Charitable Foundation. I am here this year to ask for a grant for Tour de Lakes, and this is our publication. So we do postcards. We mail them out to 600 plus bike shops around the area and around regionally. And then we also do advertisement in the Fort Wayne newspaper, And along with the Bicycle Indiana Resource Guide, we also do some Facebook ads. Last year, we had about 362 riders register. We did have a rain out day that day, so usually the 85 people that we registered day of did not show up that day because of the rain. But we are on track right now. We have over 100 riders already registered, and we're 2 months out from the race. So we're expecting to get close to that $500 rider mark. And this starts in Syracuse, comes all the way down to Winona Lake and back. Our longest ride does. It's a great event. We've helped multiple charities, Light Recovery, Cardinal Services is added this year, Kiwanis of Syracuse, Women of Today. We look to continue to join nonprofits in the county to help raise funds with this event. So.
Okay. Any questions?
All looks pretty media and.
What's that? Yeah,
All
it's
looks
all marketing.
advertising and marketing.
Yeah.
Yep.
The dollars are all on marketing, so it's right in our
It's a
wheelhouse.
fit.
We have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve it.
I second it.
Got it. Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matthew.
All right. And I did want to mention
Bouncing right along.
to those who are applying, remember it's a reimbursement grant. So you need to submit receipts, follow the procedure and all of that stuff for getting reimbursed. It's great. Hey, we're handing you the money.
Yeah.
You got to spend it and we'll reimburse, okay? Echoes of the past, come on up.
Good morning.
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 Here I am again. You opened the door. Yeah, when I was here before and asked for some sponsorship money for advertising and for bleachers, you said our pavilion was kind of something that you do. So as you see, I gave you a picture. We have completed the project. Last August, after our summer event was over, we actually got cut short because of the rain and a discussion. Well, we'd been discussing maybe doing this for over a year at that point. But the event was cut a little bit short because the rain came about 5 o'clock on that Saturday. And we were like, oh, look at the mud, look at the grass, look at this and that. So we started talking about doing this pavilion a little more in depth. And then I happened to see on Inkfree that Warsaw City had ARPA funds left. So I applied to ARPA thinking that maybe we could get some grant money through there. I talked to Mayor Talmer's office and said, well, yeah, go ahead and apply. Well, the new mayor didn't think that our being out of the city of Warsaw, we applied, that would be approved for that. So with some help from some generous backers to float us some money until I could pound the pavement and try and come up with a way to help pay for this, we went ahead and started procedure and try and get the pavilion done before our event happens this year. So that's why the pavilion is already done. So now I'm pounding the pavement, looking for the funds to help pay for this pavilion. You'll see it's a 40 by 60 pavilion. We've used cement for the ground, so we're not gonna have the muddy, messy mess with the grass and so forth. It's a beautiful pavilion. It's got lights inside. We're just really proud of it, so. I'm not sure what else questions you might have.
You built it already, is that correct?
Yes.
And did you borrow the money? How did-
Well, we had some club members that came forward and said, hey, we'll help. And some of the contractors have not made us pay yet. So a couple of contractors asked us, yeah, we've got to have the money now. Some of the others and we did some of the work ourselves with them to cut down the cost of it. And then the other contractors are kind of waiting to see how I can come up with the money. So I came back to you first to see what you would maybe be able to help us with.
Where's the building located at, or the pavilion located at?
It's down at the corner of County Farm Road and 700 South.
Okay,
Is that where the old school is?
Yeah, the old schoolhouse. Yeah, that's where we hold our 3 big events down there.
okay.
Yep. We have our Summer Fest there, our Fall Festival there, and our Santa Christmas event there.
Okay. Any questions? Anybody?
Do you have a rough estimate on like how many people from outside our county do come in for these events?
I would say probably from outside the county. Because we have Wabash County, Fulton County, Allen County. I would say probably.
I know it's a
40%.
rough guesstimate.
Probably 40% of, probably 400, 500 people, maybe, in a weekend.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
We have out-of-state visitors. We've got a lot of Michigan attendees, a lot of Illinois people come over.
Okay,
Ohio.
so it's a good chunk.
Yeah.
Well,
Alright.
and, I mean, a lot of times where, hey, do you have any estimates? I'm assuming this is the actual cost to build.
Yes, that's the actual cost.
What you
Yeah, I
usually
broke
say,
it
give us
down
an
piece by piece.
You've already know.
This is
Yeah,
what it
that's
costs.
the actual rounded
Okay.
up, yeah. Yeah, it actually came in more than what we expected it to with the cost of everything from last year when we got estimates to it actually getting done. Cost of everything is increased, of course.
So of this that you're asking for, you said there were some that you hadn't paid yet and some have been paid. How much would you estimate, or do you know what's outstanding that you have not paid?
A little over 40 grand.
Okay.
Is still out, yeah.
Well, obviously, we get some people here, and it's just me throwing it against the wall. I think there's some people here. I joked when I saw 63,000 for a pavilion, because it's like, holy moly. And I get it, the costs have gone up. I guess we just don't have a lot of experience. It's the first time they've been coming to us. It's hard
Correct.
to say, okay,
Correct, nothing to
we'll
compare
drop
to.
that large amount. What I was thinking, and along the same lines with you, Kathy, is how much you've already spent.
What do we
could
have?
reimburse that.
Correct.
Because I think it's, it's at 20,000 or 23,000
So
or
you're,
whatever.
yeah, you're saying that
25,000.
about
I
23,000.
think we're not funding the whole thing. You've got some private donors that can do it. We're showing we're
Right.
supporting outside of the bigger communities, and it's probably pretty cool. I've never been there to
Yeah.
see it, but it's probably a pretty cool event. Bringing some folks in from outside, from around, that suits us. That's kind of what we're
Correct.
trying to do.
And maybe getting with Corey, trying to do the event.
Yeah, the event
After the events,
calculator.
to kind of put it in the calculator, so for future
Yeah.
things, we can kind of see what it's producing.
Yeah, what it's generating
Yeah.
going forward, so,
I
I was
agree.
thinking 20, 25.
I was thinking
something.
25, because that's about what she's short of what
Okay.
they stop us, what they reimburse.
So moved.
John made the motion for approval
25.
for 25,000.
I'll second that.
Got a second, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Say
Aye.
for 25, any opposed? Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Don't forget reimbursement, get those
Yes.
receipts
Oh,
in.
I've already got them.
I need to pound that, right?
She's already
That's my
on
theme
it.
right now.
Why
That's
did I
my
know
theme.
that?
That's my theme. Okay, Lost Sparrows Incorporated.
Good morning. I'll do my best to use the microphone, but
Kind of low, isn't it? You want us to get,
I feel a little, I feel a little discriminated against, maybe.
You can push this up if you want.
I'll let
there
There you
you
go.
go. We're getting in the ballpark.
That's better.
It's not a new thing in my life. Yeah, so Darren Gagnon, I work for an organization called Lost Sparrows. We're a nonprofit in Winona Lake. We are looking for some funding to market our fourth annual trauma conference, which we hold at Warsaw Community Church. We started in 2021, right after the pandemic, recognizing we have a lot of issues with mental health. And last year, our attendance was 415. We've grown by over 100 every year we've done it. And we're hoping that it turns into a regional conference, very much not just a local conference in Kosciusko County. And one of the challenges, obviously, in grant funding, we get grant funding from K-21. They want their dollars to stay in the county. Same with DECO Foundation and the Community Foundation. So we would like to grow larger than just a county event. So in order to do that, some funding to market outside of the county to draw some people in would be what we're looking for. And I have a couple things I'd love to share with you guys. I don't know if any of you are familiar with our conference, but if you guys don't mind.
No.
Thank
These
you.
are,
We can share if you don't, no worries.
these are last year's programs, and then these are brochures for the conference.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's get him off a Lyle. I got his agenda went out.
And while you guys are looking at those, I'll just share a little bit. We have roughly 25 speakers. A lot of them are local. We use a lot of local mental health providers. Mitchell Consulting, Linden Tree, Live Heal Grow, which is in Columbia City, Human Wellness Collective. We also bring speakers in from all over the country. If you look on the brochure, you'll see the name Derek Clark. Derek Clark is known on social media as the rapping dad, which is kind of a funny thing to say, but he's going to be really, really great. He grew up in foster care for 13 years. He now travels and speaks all over the country, does a lot of motivational speaking. So I'm excited to have him come. I think he'll be really fun. You'll see George Dennehy on there. George is a good friend of ours. He lives in Virginia. Him and his dad will both be here to speak. He was adopted from Romania. He has no arms. His website is thatarmlessguy.com. He does not, he loves the irony of that. He plays the guitar with his feet.
Oh, wow.
And so he will be performing and sharing his story. He's been here before, and he's a great younger guy that people really, especially young people, really connect with.
When you had this, you said this is last year. When you had this event last year, what kind of a draw did you have as far as people? What kind of a, I guess, a turnout did you have? Do you know where they came from?
Sure. So we know about 180 came out of, were in Kosciusko County, and the rest, lot of Whitley County, a lot of, so, and I want to say, we moved here in 2019 from Arizona, so I'm still kind of getting used to where I am on the map. A lot of surrounding counties. We also had probably close to 15 to 20 folks that came from out of state. We have a lot of people from Ohio. We have a lot that have come from as far as South Carolina and Florida, Pennsylvania, Missouri. We actually draw a good number of Mennonite and Amish folks. And it's really interesting to see, so families that will take a train from the other side of Missouri all the way to Chicago and then to South Bend and then taxi cab from South Bend here just to get here for our conference. And part of that is because, and as an adoptive dad myself, I can tell you, trauma parenting, we call it, is really challenging. And so when you have parents who are in the thick of all of that, it's like life or death survival. So that there is a lot of meaning in what we do in our conference. And I would also say we offer NASW certificates for social workers and professionals. So I was in Elkhart last week speaking at a conference, TBRI conference. I shared about the conference, passed out all the information about 300 professionals. So that's what I'm in the process of trying to do is get our roots growing outward. It just takes funding, obviously, and it takes a lot of manpower, and we're a small organization, so hopefully that answers your question. I can't say, we had 415 last year
Attendees?
attendees,
Okay.
which was up from about 300 in 2022.
And it's a 2-day event.
It is.
Still that September time.
September 6th and 7th this year,
Time to
same
get the
weekend.
word out and everything.
Mark?
and-
The one thing that stands out, if you look at the back page, the marketing, he's got it separated in the amounts. The marketing staff hours,
Yeah.
isn't, I don't know that we can do that piece.
Right, I agree.
But the other that he has there, I think is probably more in our wheelhouse.
Is there any other questions? Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it. I'm very biased toward this because I went through a situation with my husband's daughter, and I wish that we had had something like this in place, and I never saw anything.
Okay.
So this one actually hits really close to home for me.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I would like to make, I don't know if I can make a motion of 17,000. I'm taking off the
Finish
3,000.
the first one.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah,
So we've
I
got
forgot about
A
that.
motion, do we have a second for the full amount? For lack of a second, the motion Doesn't carry. So would you like to
Make a motion for
second
17,000, which if you look on that page is everything, the marketing minus the staffing hours.
Okay, so we've got a motion for 17, second.
I'll second that one.
We've got a second. Any other discussion? And I think this is where, so what we were talking about is typically, you know, it's advertising. We're trying to promote advertising. The tough part is with this is how much tourism is it's actually going to generate.
Correct. And we don't know because
We have no clue, and
Correct.
we're not only for tourism, I guess that's the other piece. We
Correct.
funded a lot of things that are service to the community, and that's where our lines are kind of blended with other organizations.
But I think too, if, you know, I'd encourage you to get with Corey
Yeah.
from our CVB. She's got an actual calculator that you can plug numbers in and kind of see what impact it had. And then going forward, year after year, you kind of have some data.
Yeah, the economic.
I would
benefit
encourage you to do
is
that.
huge. And for us, we like to see and hear, hey, it's great that you grew 100 people, maybe not, but it's great.
Right. It
For
also
the
gives you a
reason behind
guideline to
it,
kind of
but-
see how you're doing as far as
Right.
who you're impacting and where you're getting that impact kind of thing.
Sure, and I certainly can do our best to collect that sort of data.
Sure.
We do a lot of surveys, and obviously you guys, I'm sure, would love to
Sure.
see some of that.
Sure.
Okay, so we've got a second discussion, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries to 17,000. Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, yep.
Thanks, Darren.
Okay, Classic Arts Program.
Thanks for raising the podium. We do have some handouts that we're going to be giving to you. Lori Widman is the president of the Classic Arts. She was detained, wasn't going to be able to be here, but she obviously is. In the process, though, she asked me to speak on behalf of the Classic Arts programs. My name is Michael Lewis. I am the Communications and Marketing Team Leader for Classic Arts Program. Lori Widman is our president. In that packet, you will see there's two of them. One is the program that we put out. Every program that we present has a program, and that program includes our advertisers as well as those folks that have sponsored us. So you will find in there also a letter that I would like to read if I can, and it's placed in the brochure where you will see your advertisement for your sponsorship. On behalf of the Classic Arts Program, I want to express my heartfelt thank you for your generous support last year. Your $5,000 grant helped immensely with the travel expenses for the King's Brass, who joined us for our annual Christmas in the Village concert. We had over 1,000 patrons attend over the course of 3 performances, a record attendance for us. We absolutely could not have put on such an extravaganza with all the trimmings without your cooperation and partnership. I appreciate the vision you all share with those organizations like ours out here in the county, trying to live out our missions and enhance the quality of life in Kosciusko County. What you do is not a small thing, and what joy you must feel partnering with various organizations you see a need and come up with creative ways to fill. We all benefit from the fine work you do. God bless each one of you. Lori Widman, President, Classic Arts Programs.
So the booklet I gave you was our Christmas program booklet, and the letter that you just read marks your ad in our booklet.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I pulled it out.
So I also gave you a handout, copies of the presentation. I'm going to read it word for word, all 90 pages. No, I'm just kidding. I've been living in Kosciusko County 17 years. It's the longest I've ever lived in any one place in my entire career. I retired 2 years ago, and I haven't moved away because I do call it home. My wife and I love it here. Our kids have moved away, but that's just because they had to. I mean, that's just the way reality is. In the packet, there are 8 pages total. At the very end of the packet, you will have a list of all the upcoming events that are coming up next year, a very big year. We're celebrating 40 years. The Classic Arts Program has come together about 1984, so we are celebrating a banner 40th anniversary this year. Our current vision, collaboration of musicians and singers from various backgrounds who organize culturally rich music experiences for people of all ages and all walks of life in Kosciusko County. And as you saw me blather through that, we are going through a reorganization. We are actually looking at a new and improved mission and vision statement, and we are looking for the future of the next 40 years. We are a coalition member of the Coalition of the Arts, Fine Arts Coalition, and we work with a lot of other groups to make sure that our fine arts are aligned. The Convention, Recreation and Visitors Commission has given us money, and it was really beneficial, as you heard in the letter from Lori, really beneficial last year. And if you look on to page 4, you will find the 3 programs that we put together. Our program booklets include a full-page ad, verbal announcement at the opening and closing of each program, and your logo. Our financial engagement, we had 29 advertisers, 5 cash sponsors, and 4 grants. We had 120 singers, 71 instrumentalists, 6 directors, several guest conductors. We collaborate with Grace College, Wagon Wheels Symphony of the Lakes, Bremen's Children Choir. And the numbers of our audience attendance are there on the bottom of the page, and you will see 1,020 people attended the 3 Christmas programs. 300 celebrated our Celebration in Song during the Burst into Spring concert, and we had 160 full house participants at Zimmer Biomed Center Lake Pavilion for the fundraiser, Java Jive and Pie. And if you like pie, I encourage you to come. If you love music, I encourage you to come because it will be a great season this coming up. Page 5 has our breakdown of financials. I'm not going to go through all of the numbers, but I will tell you, bottom line, we're excited. We came out ahead. We came out ahead. Barely, but we came out ahead. As a nonprofit organization working with volunteers, that's great. I will also say that without your grant,
You were in the hole.
we were in the hole. That's just the reality. We do everything as good stewards of our time, talent, and resources. We do not waste our time. We do not waste our money. The board is all volunteer, and we want to make sure that we are the best stewards of the money. So why am I here today, and why am I approaching you? Page 7, we're celebrating 40 years. 2024 will be our banner 40th anniversary celebration. We're adding an additional concert this year. It'll be our legacy concert. We're going to talk about where we've been. It's sort of a documentary. It'll have a lot of music, but the idea is we want to say where we were, how we got where we are, and then from there, we're booming forward. Christmas will be about Noel. And that, if you're interested, it's about birth. And then spring will be synergy. We're going to synergize, engage children's choirs, the college choir, adult choir, and as many groups as we can get together to actually bring a synergistic relationship for the future. With that in mind, we have actually updated our mission and vision statement. It's included in there. And what we are doing is asking for $5,000 to assist us as we update our webpage. It is not reflective of where we are and where we're going. We also want to use a little bit of that to help purchase song folders as well as some other general marketing plans. We have ideas for t-shirts and magnets and all kinds of things that we want to do. But again, as you can see, with $3,000, there's a limit to what we can do. The additional $5,000 will push us over and get us aligned with where we want to be going forward. So with that, I really don't have much more to say other than I appreciate it. We will continue to sing. We will bring music, the arts, and culture to Kosciusko County as the community arts program for Kosciusko County going forward. Any questions for me?
Anybody have any questions?
Well done.
No questions? We have a motion?
So moved.
John's made a first, we get a second?
I second the motion.
Kathy, second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Graciously, thank you.
Yep.
Have a good day.
Nice presentation.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Thank you.
Thank you
I
for
like the
getting that
paper.
information.
That's
Thank you.
good.
Appreciate it.
All right. CCAC Mike. That's a running joke. That's why he answers his phone when I
So,
call
yeah,
him.
thank you, Remax Mark.
Yeah.
All right, as always, I thank you for allowing me to be here this morning. I will start off with saying that last fall, you guys are gracious enough to offer us a grant for $50,000 for remodeling of the west side facility, restrooms, and concessions. We did have some issues with the contractor that initially put in that quote, so we did put out feelers for new ones. And with that, we did get that project completed, and we came in under budget, where we saved you folks about $30,000. So the project cost us about $19,975, something like that. So we are able to give back almost $30,000 back to the fund. So with that,
We have 14,000 back.
with that, we're back today to wrap up the remodeling of all the restrooms at the park. About 5 years ago, they did the east side concessions and restrooms. This year, obviously, we did the west side, and now we're looking at doing what I call the public restrooms that are at the office building. Those restrooms are currently used by all of our soccer participants, all of the indoor rentees, the office staff, obviously, and generally throughout the day, we get people walking trails and things and whatnot that come up and use those restrooms. So once we finish these restrooms, hopefully that will finish all restrooms in the park. They'll be remodeled, updated, and looking good. So these restrooms do include a full gutting of new fixtures, new toilets, urinals, mirrors, lights, everything. Yeah, painting, yeah. So, questions?
So in the winter, are these restrooms the only ones that are
That-
open?
Yes, that is correct. In the winter, we lock up the east and west. These are the only bathrooms that are open during the winter,
So they're
correct?
really crucial to any activities you have.
Correct.
This is what I call the main hub of restrooms that people see, first and foremost, yes.
Impression.
Yep. They're just harder to shut down, so they've kind of got pushed back,
As
so.
soon as the indoor facility gets used more,
The indoor facility is hopping right now.
there's
Yeah.
more people using those restrooms
Correct.
because they're the
You have to
closest
have
to the
that.
indoor facility.
Yeah.
We did, I'm glad you brought up the indoor, because we brought up, I had the bookkeeper look. Our indoor rental through April is at about 10,000 this year. The most the CCAC's ever done in the 12 years old, the building's 14,000. So we should crush that this year.
Oh, yeah. Good,
So.
good deal.
Yeah.
Is there any other discussion? We have a motion?
All motion to approve?
Lyle, give us
I'll
first.
second.
Is that a second? Any other discussion? Oh, go ahead. Okay,
Make a motion on bringing back the $30,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll close that other grant up then, okay. So all in favor, this grant for 14?
Aye.
Good
Okay,
deal.
thank you.
So that is carried. So Rhonda, do you want to take care of that now?
Yeah,
I mean,
as well.
so as Mike mentioned, the return, and I don't know the exact number, I know Rhonda emailed and asked, it's 30,000 and something. We were
Yep.
under the budget, so the remaining fund balance be returned to,
Yeah, 36,450 is what this spreadsheet represents on here.
Well, we've got one more.
there was
payment
one
coming.
more, it was around 30.
Yeah, it's
So, I mean, if we don't use a
30,400
specific
something.
number,
Yeah.
so I guess, I don't know if we need to have a motion, if we just discuss that, but, the remaining 30,000 will be returned for us to distribute. And if that works from a motion, I'll make that motion. So do we have a second on that?
second.
John,
Sounds
second, all in favor?
Aye.
So that one, look at that, we dotted an I, across the T, okay.
Do you want me to stay for the update next?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I guess just the general update then that I had planned on coming in for is just basically, I like to come in and kind of update where we're at going forward. Mother Nature's been a joy so far with the rain, so mowing and staying up on the mowing's been a chore, but we're getting there. Until last night, we had to cancel leagues last night, but anyway, at the end of the week, we should have all 18 of our new soccer goals built and put out. We've got 3 left to do. They should be done by the end of the week. We did get in our 8 new scoreboards. That was through the ARPA grant through the city. We are waiting on their second installment payment to pay off those scoreboards, but we do have them on site, and those are in the works of being put up as well as we speak. KCSL soccer's going. I think I updated before, they had nearly almost 400 kids this year, which is up almost 100 from last year. Our tournaments, weekend events are going strong. Luckily, we haven't had any cancel yet, so we've been blessed with that at least. So we're moving forward with that. As I mentioned, our indoor rental has really taken off this year. I think through the next 8 weeks, 10 weeks, we've probably got 2 weekends open only. We're getting birthday parties, I don't know the correct term, but it's the Mexican 15th birthday party that we're getting those. We've got a potential wedding in July coming up at our park, so it's growing. We're proud of that. So we'll be coming with some improvements for that building sooner than later, I'm sure, too. So, any questions on updates?
What do you see in the future for your capital improvements out there?
Where to start? Honestly, I think what we need to tackle next is our indoor building. That's about 12 years old, and I will go on record as saying that it was poorly constructed. We have a roof leak in it, so we fight that when the rain comes from the south. We need that fixed. We need the indoor, inside the building repainted. We need a floor machine to upkeep the new rubber flooring we got last winter, which was $47,000. We need proper equipment to do that. So indoor building definitely needs some attention. We need irrigation on the soccer fields eventually. We need new roofing on the dugouts for all 16 of those dugouts. Those shingles are probably close to 10, 12 years old. So, if not older, absolutely. So, yeah, we have a grant out through the ARPA for some baseball equipment for our weekend events on the portable pitching mounds. Hopefully that goes through. But there are plenty of projects. Lights. Our ball field lights are 20 years old. They're outdated. The poles are good, but the lights, we need to switch to LED lights. We need to replace some light bulbs. So I could go on forever. You got all day? He had 90 pages to read. I've got about 150. So yes, there are plenty of projects, but these are big ticket projects. A lot of them are. The lights are anywhere from 600,000 to $1 million. Okay.
To replace the
To
lights.
replace all of them.
And I would
Yep.
jump in, we have explored with NIPSCO, do they have any
That's what I was gonna
programs
ask.
for energy efficiency? They don't.
They don't.
So that, again, my normal pitch is, hey, we're getting, $10 a kid for soccer. How do you buy $600,000 worth
Yep.
of lights with $10 per kid? So they're big tickets, the irrigation,
About
the lighting.
100,000.
I mean, the facility's 30 years old and it's tired. I mean, these improvements that are taking place, the bathrooms, the next thing, we did a walk around not too long ago, and when that needs to be done, that needs to be done. It's Mark, we need money in order to do those things. So, I get it, but we're the 30th anniversary this year of the CCAC. So there are, and it's been left, unfortunately, a lot of the things should have been done as it went. It wasn't painting, just little things that'll make it look so much better, make the experience better when people come out.
That's the best example I can give. It's almost like the last 10 years it's been a Band-Aid, and now all the Band-Aids are falling off, and we're stuck.
They're catching up.
We're fixing things the right way instead of Band-Aiding again for the next group to come through.
In fact, Mike's working on quotes for that building, for the roof and whatever.
Correct.
Again, The one is a metal roof. It should last forever. It was installed improperly.
11
So-
years ago, the metal roof's already leaking.
So we get leaks. We should approach that vendor.
I was gonna say,
They're out of
for
business.
warranty?
They're out of
Oh,
business.
nice.
So,
Great.
you know,
Yeah.
you get what you pay for, unfortunately. And the smaller part of that indoor facility, the roof is shot. I mean, as an agent, I look and I'm like, oh, Lord. If I were selling that house, I'd be telling the person to put a new roof on it, and it needs it. So,
Yeah, we're looking at, the quotes I've gotten so far, we're looking between 50 to 60,000.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, though, the facility's improved dramatically. I mean, there's significant changes that have taken place. It's looking better. The new soccer goals, which again was a grant from K-21,
Yep, correct.
which the CCAC participated in. They paid a percentage, K-21 paid the rest. So these other grants that are out there, a lot of them, they're contributing. It's not just a,
Yeah, with this soccer girls, we paid 20%. So,
Nice.
so it's all improvements. But again, if you're earning $10 per kid, where do you come up with the money to do these things on the reimbursement side?
correct.
More kids.
More kids. Yes, more kids. So, all right.
All right, thank you guys, as always.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks. Corey, you're up. Do we need to lower that podium down? Just checking.
Oh, he was tall. No, it's
We
fine.
can get a stool.
I'll deal.
That would be the normal approach, but just bring a stool in so you can stand up there.
I'm gonna hand these out. These are the, I mentioned last time in March. These are our fun new Wyndham Queens for the digital guides. So this goes to.
That we're replacing with the new brand. So if a visitor prefers to use digital, they can just use this QR code and it goes directly to our digital guides, which we have at least 10 supplementary brochures outside our visitor guide that a visitor can look at. So if you didn't mind displaying those in your businesses, plug, if you're able to. I understand there's some things, but good morning. Thank you so much for your continued support of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. I have two board members with me today, Nick and Jennifer. So I want to introduce them. Just real quickly, every month I try to do some travel insights, some travel trends for the year. This data is from Destinations International, AKA they've rebranded themselves to Future Partners. This data comes from 4,000 American travelers surveyed in April of 2024, so just this last month. Positive news, the number of American travelers who said that it's a good time to be spending money to travel is relatively up by 32.2%. The expectation to spend more is in the next 12 months on leisure travel, which is a big impact to our community, is up about 2.7 points from last month, and overall about 33.6%. And the average maximum of annual spend for leisure travel in the next 12 months, it will be roughly about $4,826, which is highest on record. So this is great news post-pandemic as we're continuing to battle inflation, et cetera. So what is driving Americans to travel right now? According to this survey, visiting friends and relatives. As we know here, we see a lot of that, about 50.9%. Relaxation is at 45.6%. And escaping the stress of daily life is 34.2%, are the most common trip motivators currently according to this survey. So self-care and great outdoor recreation and things are top on that list of what travelers are doing. I did email our STR report to you for March. We are slightly up from last year, slightly, but marginal. I'm taking that as fingers crossed. It's better than it was previous. Again, thank you all for continuing to support the sports and events calculator. I really appreciate that. We are still always continuing to get those numbers for any event or any sporting event that is in the community. We can even go back years. It doesn't have to be something that's just happened. We can just put that in. So if they need it for a certain year, that is the the nice about that calculator, it doesn't have to be happening within the year of the event. We are hosting our second quarterly hoteliers meeting next Thursday. We are having a guest speaker. Her name is Amanda Davis with Lake City Skiers. Since Chuck has retired, as many of you know, she is Chuck's replacement. So she is taking on Chuck's role moving forward. So she's going to be coming and speaking. I know she might have reached out to several of you already they have a tournament next month, looking to try to get that partnership started up again. Again, the QR, the window clings that we're getting out around the county. I wanted to let you know that our board and our staff is working on a destination marketing accreditation program. Jill did start this. We are getting back, this is an accreditation program that shows distinction and performance standards for destination marketing organizations. So these are a lot of policies and procedures that we do have in place, but we can apply for this accreditation process, which gives us a really great standard around the community. There's around the state and around the nation. It's through Destinations International. There are about a total of 120 standards we have to complete, and we're about a quarter of the way through. Our goal is to apply in 2025 as a board and as a staff. We are still continuing. Great marketing efforts are on a high. Our Kosciusko rebrand has been a significant gain for us, so we're really happy to see that. We got our back door installed, so thank you again for that capital improvement. We just need to get that flooring redone, and then we'll be completed with that grant request. And if you would like, please stop by. The new floor will look nice. So I hope, if anyone has been in there lately, it's looking a little dingy. National Tour and Travel Week is May 19th through the 25th. Again, we'll be celebrating that during the week. We'll be talking about all things to do in Kosciusko County. Our marketing team goal is to talk about itineraries happening in every community. What can you do on a day trip or multi-day trip in every community in Kosciusko County? We do have those itineraries in the visitor guide. They're on our blog, but Laura, Marketing Communications, will be working hard to make sure that's celebrated for that week. Did you have any additional questions on our financials? I did want to make a note. Our board made a decision that we will be bringing the visitor guide back in county. So Lunar Cow Publishing has been doing it for the past 4 guides. We're bringing this back in countywide and county within. So the papers had won that bid for us. I wanted to let you know moving forward, and those sales will be starting in July. So just that decision, trying to bring it back in if we can, and we have great faith in the papers to be able to accomplish that for us. So didn't know if you had any questions for me?
I do. All right.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, has everybody had a chance to review the minutes from the March meeting? We have a motion to accept. Any changes? Anybody?
Make a motion to
Okay,
accept.
we've got a motion.
I'll accept, or second it.
We had a second. Any other discussion? Of course not. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the minutes are approved. John, you're up.
Okay, you received the financial statements in your packet today. I think it's great news that our receipts are open up. April was roughly 199,000 compared to last year with 178,000. And if you look between the home share and the innkeepers, they're both up 7,000, about equal to what they were. So we're doing good on our receipts. Looks like our hotels are up to date on their remittance, so that's good news. We started out last year this year 1.1 million, and we still got a little over $1 million left. So financially, we're in good shape, but we still have some money that we've obligated to give away and support both CCAC and the Visitors Bureau. So looks like we're in good shape.
All right. Do you have a motion or any questions on the financial report? All right, we have a motion to approve.
A motion to approve.
Lyle made the motion. Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Kathy second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. So the next item on the agenda is talking about the use of, or including wages, taxes, whatever, in the reimbursement for annual allocation. It's on our agenda, and I'll speak to it because I actually prompted this discussion. And talking to Mike about, we are a reimbursement grant for, that's what we do. However, so we require receipts and things like that from the CBB. We require receipts and things like that from the CCAC. We require receipts from everybody for what they're doing. The grants for CBB and the CCAC, and again, I've been on this commission, I think, since 2016. I never once knew that they could not include, and I was the opponent of operational expenses being used for any of our funding. But when you look at the grants for those two entities, they are operational. It's for the annual budget for the CBB, it's the annual budget for the CCAC. I did not know, they never claimed wages in their reimbursement. It was only for other things, well, utilities, whatever they spent. So when Mike was, well, I'm waiting to get enough dollars to request reimbursement, I said, well, just, wages are $5,000, use wages. So I talked to Rhonda and her staff, they reviewed the statute. There's nothing that specifically says it can be. There's nothing that specifically says it can't be. So that's why the addition was, well, maybe we need to talk about all of the other grants we do. Now, I can tell you in the past, with the Center for Lakes and Streams, we used to reimburse for wages for specific grants for them, because it was a bundled price. As you mentioned today, the grant request, we had marketing dollars for wages. So I agree with that in general for most of the grants that we do, but for those two specific entities, again, this is just Mark's opinion, we're gonna vote on it so that it's clear for us going forward that they won't be questioned, they're able to use those things to request their reimbursement going forward. And I'm too specific, not all grants, that's not what I'm in favor of.
Okay, so that's what I was gonna ask, because if
I am
we
not.
approve that, do we open the door for?
Agreed. I think, the way that the CVB is funded, what is the whole purpose of the hotel tax, or that our purpose here
Correct.
is allocation of those funds. And we fund the CVB for tourism. That's the whole thing, with recognizing that the CCAC is funded annually from us at a given level every year. And the grant request comes in and says operational support. Wages are part of that operation.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not suggesting, and I want us to discuss it, it's not like Mark's ramming it through, this is what we have to do. I just think with those two entities, operational, it should be allowed. In fact, it probably is, because otherwise, in the case of the CVB, where do they generate any other revenue? If they had no other expenses but only wages, could they not request reimbursement? With that interpretation that they can't use wages, they couldn't request reimbursement, which means then the CVB ceases to exist, ceases to function.
Correct, and we know that in the past, we were directly asked for an increase for them because of wages. I mean, that
Because
was
their
what it was
expenses are high.
said. I mean, this was several years back.
Right.
But that was the verbiage when they
Right.
came and asked.
Right. So, again, I want us to discuss it, it's there, so that we can make this clear. And like I say, I've been doing this for a long time.
So how do you, if they do that, then how are you gonna get payroll? How are you gonna see, how we ask for receipts?
Yeah, those would be
The taxes,
submitted.
all of that's
Those would
gonna
be
have to be,
submitted.
okay.
Yeah, for approval. Those would be submitted for approval along the way. And again, it's an extreme example, but say the CVB and or the CCAC had no other expenses, then they would get no reimbursement. How would they continue to fund? How would they continue to operate if we didn't have that? If we weren't willing to reimburse for those things? Again, that's very extreme. I'm not saying either one would ever be in that position. But, okay, you got a $500, you know, electric and gas bill, we'll reimburse you that, but send all your people home.
We kind of dealt with that during COVID.
Right,
We really did.
right, because there was limited expenses
Correct.
during COVID, absolutely. And we didn't question it. We just reimbursed at that point.
And that's
Again,
kinda
for
why we always
those two
try.
entities, they are operational requests. It's not a project budget. They each come back to us for projects. And I'm not saying that anybody else that comes to us, if there's wages in there, we should rubber stamp it. I'm not saying we make a drastic change to modify the grant request or anything like that. I think case by case basis, but my inclination would be, no, it's not allowed for a capital project. For the tractor pavilion, if they'd had on there, we paid $30,000 for the Amish to build the pavilion, I would not have agreed with that. I mean, that's not part of it. We'll fund.
We also have to look at the return on that investment as far as across the board. What do they, you know, inject into the community for travel, for restaurants, for businesses? You know, we know who our big hitters are too. So what proportion, you know, you have to think in those terms too, because, you know, the CCAC does a huge impact from, like we've talked about before, March to October. And if he continues to get indoor, we may see more impact in that regard, even in the off months, what we consider. And we've always like had our slush or rainy day fund, we always keep X amount of dollars for the CVB, like if COVID hit, you know, you can't foresee. Maybe we need to up that a little bit where we're contemplating if that happened, what about the CCAC?
Sure.
I mean, that's maybe future to think about.
Doug, what do you think?
I had a discussion with the chamber lady there in Syracuse the other day, and she's, you know, thought about approaching you guys for an intern or kind of a liaison with the visitor bureau, because they're so far away, and, you know, directing people to Syracuse, and they'll go to Warsaw and find the information, so you have like a liaison. And she's approaching the idea of hitting you guys up for an assistant or something like that. She's kind of picking my brain the other day, so that probably falls into what you're talking about as far as wages and, of course, then I can throw back what Syracuse have to offer besides the Oakwood and
Sure.
the lakes, but if it can bring more people in to the hotels up there, it could be beneficial, but.
Yeah, I mean, that chamber, again, is a little different than the CVB. Each of the chambers are their own profit organizations. That, to me, would be to fund an intern, a specific intern, if they had a project they wanted to do.
Fund the
The
project.
reasoning would be, we fund the project, that frees up the dollars, they can hire an intern.
Yeah, she's talking about doing
If they
videos,
chose to.
videos and things like that, but just
Yeah. Yeah.
40-minute drive to go to the visitor
Sure.
bureau to find information, just to have
Sure.
something up there in their little new remodeled
Sure.
building they have.
Okay. John, what do you think?
Well, I thought we've always been doing this, so you
And
know,
you've been here longer than I have.
Yeah, I've been here. But we receive financials all the time from CVB, and I assume all wages are included in those. So
It is. I think the reimbursements have been creatively, it's not been specific wages.
Yes,
They've had other things that they've needed the
That's
expense
right.
for, but he's right. In a situation where that weren't the case, then what?
yeah.
So it's all, just so I'm clear here, it's all based on just clarifying the wording of that, because if it's operational expenses, you know, part of operational expenses is payroll, essentially. So to me, are we discussing and voting on if we clarify that it has to be a separate line item? Or can they still include that in operational expenses?
My thought is it's included in the total, as Kathy just mentioned. It's an operational expense. So what we would look at are operational expenses. They wouldn't have to give us itemized to pay. I mean, I'm not trying to add an additional load that says, send us everybody's payroll.
Right.
Right? It's here's what we've expensed in payroll over that given time when they request reimbursement. And the preference would be other items. But if they get to that spot where they haven't had those expenses and they're coming up to that quarterly reimbursement, they could use those wages.
Correct. You also
We'll
can
get to you
see-
guys here in a minute, okay?
And you can get to a report where you don't have to send individual, you can get a lump report
Yeah.
that could show
Right.
those expenses for us to see.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of what I was wondering, because with those two organizations, to me, what we, the budget is part of that. And I agree that if there's other organizations that all of a sudden go, oh, so you approve that we can do,
Right.
payroll specifically, then that, I don't necessarily agree with that.
That either.
But if it's a capital project that they're building something, I mean, that is part of that, part
Right,
of that
and again, we're
expense,
looking
so.
for what impact do they have on the community and on external,
Right.
if it's,
Right.
if they don't bring anything in, I'm short on my payroll, I'm gonna go to the KCCRVs, and
Right,
that's
and
not
that's
what we're
not,
there
yes,
for.
absolutely.
Jessica, what do you think?
I've got very mixed feelings about it. I don't want to ruin it for the ones that we are kind of just going in blind for with that, just because it's not saying no, but not saying yes either. But yeah, it does open us up to some issues if people get wind that we're doing the wage thing, because it could be a problem. There is a way to is there a way for us to specify it can only be used for certain types of grants? Like if it's only for the big ones, like we know we fund them annually. So can we specify that in a way that we don't have to worry about the smaller ones coming back?
I believe so.
Okay.
And I'll get to you guys. Give me a second. I want to let everybody on the board speak first, on the commission speak first. So that's what I'm suggesting, is
Okay.
that for those two organizations, they are essentially, the CVB is funded by us completely. So operationally, the CCAC is funded operationally. That's what they've continued to be. So we're not changing anything, we're only clarifying that they can use wages for reimbursement if
Yeah.
necessary. And Rhonda's office would be reviewing those receipts. If all of a sudden it's
Includes
only wages.
payroll, yeah.
It's
That's not
only
what we're
wages.
looking for, right?
And that's where we are the oversight for those, to make sure that the wages don't become 100% of the expense
Yeah.
for each of them. That's part of our purpose with getting that reimbursement, or just keeping a watchful eye on where the money's coming from. And Kathy, do you want to add anything else?
No.
Okay. Go ahead. Corey, you were waving.
No, I'm sorry. I was just gonna make a comment. You got it. You made your comment. It's fine.
Okay.
Sorry. Apologize.
Mike, you were waving.
Yeah, my only comment was, for example, and Mark, you know, as board president, this past winter, coming out of winter, we're looking and scraping and trying to figure out how to make payroll while waiting for more bills to come in to claim to get the reimbursement. So that's the tough part. We're looking at payroll, but we're waiting on bills to meet that grant. So we're only talking about operational year funding, not project funding. So it's simply just that. It helps us get to that amount quicker to make sure we stay, Mark said, operationally sustainable.
Well, we have that annual agreement with you, that we sign that every quarter.
Right.
Ours,
That's what I was saying.
yours is the same, so.
That's a
I
little
would
different.
assume The language wouldn't be too
It
much
is
different to his versus ours.
Right.
Which ours has included to be paying staff
Right.
operational.
Right.
So that distribution quarterly.
Does he have the same?
No, we don't have an agreement.
Maybe we need that
Yeah.
agreement.
Would that
Maybe that's what we need.
make it more clear around it if we created an agreement?
Agreement with the
Provided
CCAC.
you with an agreement from way back.
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever like
Sure.
finished.
I think it needs to model the one for the
Right.
case, the
I would
CBB.
agree with that. That's a.
Then I don't
appreciate
think
that
we open up
comment,
ourselves
because-
to that
right, 'cause
problem,
then
and
it's only
it's a
for
separate
those
item.
two organizations, and
Correct,
it's
because we have an
documented, and-
agreement with those two
and
that we
we
don't
an
have with
annual
our
agreement
grants.
with them for quarterly distributions,
Correct.
and here's what it is.
Correct.
Okay.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
We have signed it, you have signed it, we have signed it, and for Rhonda and their team to track, we have had to make sure that we
Okay.
have that.
That's what I think
Where the
needs to be.
CCAC has been treated as a grant
Correct, I think that needs to
essentially
change.
each year.
And then if he has a grant for something specific, that's different.
Okay.
So he's not coming to us asking for payroll.
So do we want to make a motion then to model the CBB agreement with the CCAC to clarify
Verbiage.
the verbiage for the grant.
I'll make a motion to change and put a mimic of what we do for the CVB for the CCAC. And it's how we fund them on a quarterly basis. We need to write that together,
Okay.
write that up.
I'll
Okay,
second.
Jessica's nodding. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So we've got unanimous
That was a
on
good
that. We're all
write.
in agreement.
That was
So-
good.
So Rhonda, if we can
Clarify that.
get a copy of that, figure it out, and we'll work our way through that. CCAC and CVB, yeah.
I
Okay,
think that's the way we need to.
good
do it.
deal. Budget review. Yeah, John, look at him, I'm the guru. So John and I got together a couple of years ago and that's why I'm the guru, because I'm the Excel guy and he's not. So, so what we were trying to do is straighten out what's Excel. I know back in the day it was VP Planner in the 80s, so that's all I know. So, you know, our budget's actually, it's 4 line items. It's not extremely difficult. And what I put in front of you guys, and Rhonda has a copy of this as well, it's going back to 2016, what the budget was for the CVB, grants, admin, so what's the total? So when I say 4, there's 3 actual categories, CVB, grants, and admin. The admin is for the annual audit that we do. And that price is around 12 or 13,000, so for the 2025 budget, I just plopped in 15,000. It's the same as what we did in 24. For 25, I'm saying 15,000 for that as well. The CVB had presented us with their proposed budget approved by their board. They recommended, they've requested 510, which was the same budget as 24. I don't see any reason why we should change that, again, from a proposal standpoint. In fact, you guys, you cut yourself short, I have put more in, but that's okay. This was a significant increase year over year. It was, you did not increase, and I appreciate that. This going to 510 was a significant increase over the prior year. And if you look back to 23, that's why I appreciate their conservative approach on the budget standpoint. So for grants,
Maybe
in
that
20
needs separated, you know, how we
What's
just
that?
talked about, based on what we're going to do with the
we
CCAC,
should
maybe
put
that
them in
needs
separate.
separated.
Sure, and we can.
Okay,
So what Kathy's recommending is we have 4 line items in CVB, CCAC, grants, and admin.
I
Those
think
would be
that's
the
what we need
4
to have.
line items for us. So, in 2024, we budgeted a total of 360,000 for the CCAC and everybody else. So in discussion, and I know we have talked about that a little bit offline, I was proposing to increase the CCAC budget from where we currently were up to 155,000, and a lot of reasons for that. The largest is we hadn't funded properly going for a number of years. The second was the city reducing their funding by 21,000. We had bumped them up, and the city pulled it out, so what we
Correct, so
bumped up, they were
nothing.
still treading water.
right.
So I guess if we're gonna split that, so in the 25 budget, I proposed 400,000 total, CCAC and
Grants.
other grants. So the CCAC, I'm thinking 155, we can talk about that if we wanna change that number, but a total of 400,000, which would give us 925 for the year. That would be our total budget. So if we work our way back, 925, 15 for the admin is already there, the 510 for the CVB. What we're talking about is how do we parse that 400,000 out? Between the CCAC, specifically identifying funding for them, and
And
other
again, I think you do just what we're doing quarterly with them for the year, and then
Sure.
grants, they may be in a grant and come back for something else,
Right.
but that's something different.
Sure.
That would fall under grants then, if they came in,
Correct.
okay, we're building a building, we need X
Correct.
amount, that kind of
Correct.
thing.
So again, I'm proposing 155, 160, it's easier math, divide by 4, I can do that in my head.
Right.
And don't have an odd number. That's easy, but, I mean, what do you guys think?
I mean, what is their operational cost, right? So,
So wages are $155,000 a year, which is where I came to that number.
okay,
That's our operational, side. Their total budget is about 300,000 for other expenses. Total budget is around 3. So with the CVB, we're funding fully,
We're
but
doing
they
about
don't have a way to
50%.
generate revenue like the CCAC does.
Right.
That's why I'm not, oh, let's fund the CCAC, you know, their total
No,
budget.
no.
We're generating revenue,
Right.
as we go.
So it'll be about half their budget, correct?
Roughly half, yeah.
do you,
is
do you
mainly
know
for,
what the
wages.
revenue is for the CCAC?
Not off the top of my head. Mike, have you got the budget with you? Okay. Yeah, I probably have it with me, but. So the total for what we're looking for is 9.25 for this year, and it'll be a matter of how we split it up.
Right, which I'm
Sure.
good with,
So the total revenue. for-
coming in.
I may be able to get to it here if I can get on that web.
Income generated from is 309,270.
Yeah, I knew it was around 3. but I
Expense
didn't know.
paid 292.
So see, they're pretty flat.
Pretty flat, yeah, okay, okay. I'm good with 155 then.
155?
Me too.
That's good.
Everybody good with 155? Okay, so we'll modify then that, Rhonda, so 510 for the CVB. CCAC, 155.
I think it's 245.
How much?
245 left.
Yep.
245,000
For
for
grants.
remaining grants and 15,000 for admin. So do we have somebody make a motion for those numbers?
So moved.
We got a motion.
I'll second.
Second.
All right.
Okay,
All
any
in
other
favor?
discussion? All in favor of that budget at 925 split into the categories we talked about?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, okay. Anything else we need to talk about? Rhonda did hand me, a letter from Syracuse Parks. They got a grant for a project, they finished it up, and they'd want to know what we would like to have on the plaque. So, this has been a challenge since 2016, believe me, because we've been down the road, we need a logo, we need a this, we need a that. Say KCC RBC 10 times fast. Right?
When you do it in text, when you're texting,
Yeah,
it doesn't come out that way.
it's really tough, but I think ultimately, that's who we are without trying to rebrand and do whatever else, so we'll just tell them, plaque needs to say, funded by KCC-RBC and spell it all
Well,
out.
we've already got that one, don't we? That's the little, doesn't that have writing on it?
It does, and it says KCCRBC.
Yeah,
Just continue that route.
yeah, we'll see what they've got for, I'll call them either or.
Like KCCRBC, the one that we
Yeah, spell it all out.
Oh,
or-
Lord.
No.
That's
God,
not a
no.
plaque, that's a
huge.
billboard.
It's a set of bleachers. So KCC RVC works, okay. Then if nothing else, we are adjourned.
We have to motion to adjourn.
You made the motion to adjourn, right?
Yes, I motion
Yes.
to adjourn.
I'll
We are
second.
adjourned,
All
okay.
right. All in favor? Aye. Yay. Meeting adjourned.
Look at my phone.
I have a GM from, I'm supposed to have to go to Greensburg and train her, and then I didn't have to last week. She keeps reaching out to me.
really?
She's busy.
Ready
She
to
said
go.
she
I had one
didn't
Saturday,
need
so
me.
you can check it out. Weather's supposed
No
to be junk.
problem.
No, yeah, you're right, it's early. You got a lot of reservations.
Sorting that out last night, just working the public cruises. I missed that
I just
foot
need
stuff
you to
last
sign,
week.
this meeting minutes from January
Oh,
of this
January.
year.
Whatever comes in, we get them.
Okay, Rhonda, what we got going?
We just have the minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, that way we can get it here, we can do a press release.
Okay, that's all?
Rest is
Well,
for
thank you,
Mark.
thank
Yeah,
you.
rest-
They tried, still got like little, foot here. No, they tried stitching up last time. That last meeting, took forever.
Oh, yeah.
The rest
Sorry,
of
rip the stitches out.
them are, sound great.